and I'm looking at it and I'm like, bro, I caved my frame in on the bottom. It's still the same bike I just Holeshotted everybody on. It's just a caved in stock frame.
How about Moranz getting the whole shot? This is great. I met a gypsy.
It was good timing, and I did message you after you Holeshotted the main, because I was like, that is impressive. There's not many privateers Holeshot in the main event. It was funny. We even spoke about it with Coop on the podcast. I don't know if you heard it. But
yeah, I actually did, because I in track walk at Glendale, I stopped him going up the finish line. I was like, hey, thanks for the shout out and Gypsy Tales kind of deal. He laughed a little bit, so that was good.
That's funny, yeah, because the gist for those who haven't heard it, or what we were saying, was there's a big difference between like hoping you get a Holeshot and like actually having the nuts to get one, because like at the end of the day, you're not running Chase Sexton, Eli Tomac speed. So it's like if you get that Holeshot in that main event, like that's something that you're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah, and that's even what I was telling my team when I came back off, because obviously I was stoked with it, because especially for the Tank Masters bonus and everything like that. I was obviously bummed with how quickly I made a pretty fatal mistake to an extent, but just getting out front, and even in the first corner, because like I ride during the week, so like most of the times with Chase. So when he kind of snuck up the inside of me, I was like, I knew I'm man enough to say that I'm not those guys' speed yet, hopefully sometime in the future. But so I was really just kind of going to just let him go. And then I saw that he rolled the double and I got the double, and I was just like, if it's there, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. And it ended up working out, and, led that lap, because that was the biggest thing for me with that situation, right? Is like Coop said, like the confidence, just being able to mentally deal with a situation like that. I started 4th in Detroit the weekend before.
Yeah.
And honestly, was like shitting my pants a little bit. Like I was like kind of freaking out, worried about, I got Barsha, I got Rocks, I got all these dudes behind me. And I just kind of pumped up, flared out, and it didn't go super great. You know what I mean? Considering the start that I had. And obviously this one didn't pan out completely, but even to pass Chase back to an extent, go through the whoops, triple, boom, come over the finish line. Like I just took a deep breath over the finish line. I was just like, because I know those guys are going to get me around me at some point, but it's just trying to take your opportunity that you have like that and try to prove yourself as much as you can. That's the mental state that I was in over the finish line on that situation, because I was like, just do what you can with what you have, instead of the weekend before where I was like freaking out about everybody behind me. Like it was nice being in front. I was like, I get to take my lines and let's just do this as long as we can kind of deal. Obviously it lasts like a quarter and a half after that, but
yeah.
It was cool to get that, just the mental shift of that situation.
Yeah, because there's definitely something different about knowing that you can do that and then actually pulling the trigger and committing to it, because a Holeshot essentially is just full commitment. You've got to go into the full turn, like you've got to go into the first turn fully committed and almost irrespective of what other people do. Like I remember in your vlog you were saying there was one dude next to you that kind of shut off on the inside, and it's like I guess it's like a hard thing to explain, but it's almost like you're just going for it sort of no matter what. There's like a point of no return, I guess, and it's like to have the confidence to hit that point of no return and kind of go in there. Definitely it takes a lot.
Yeah, no, and like that was the cool thing too, is like I was stoked with the heat race Holeshot, because that's the one where you're talking about where in the vlog I was like, it was Craig actually who had the inside on me. So, for people that don't really know, which I'm assuming a lot of people that listen to this podcast know, but even if you don't have the wheel on somebody, you technically still have the position if you're on the inside, because you can push them out a little bit. Like obviously, you don't want to hit them or anything like that, but you can force the issue because you have the better inside position. So he kind of had that on me, and he shut down a little bit, and I was like, sweet, dude, thanks for that, because like if that was me on the inside, I probably would have pushed the issue a little bit more. But it is what it is, and worked out in my favor. And that's the biggest thing for me now too, is now that I've had that mental shift, is once I put myself in another position like that, just ride it out as long as you can. Continue to prove yourself to the teams and everybody who's watching, And, because I've obviously been, unfortunately, in a lot of LCQs, but I know how to handle the stress of this is my last chance. Okay, I'm out front. I got people hunting me down, everything like that. Obviously, it's not Roxon and Tomac that's behind me in the LCQ, but it's a similar level of stress that it helps me in those situations.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, it's so hard to race through the pack and gradually work your way from 15th to 14th to 13th to 12th, like to make that start from the bottom and work your way up in this sport is a really, really hard thing to do. And I mean, for love him or hate him, but you look at what Vince Freese has been able to do. Like, he was a guy that was a crazy roadblock for a lot of years, and he'd get these great starts. And it was like over time, he just got more and more comfortable running the pace. Like, the speed picked up. If you've got those kind of starts and you can get up front, and it's a lot easier. It's almost like reverse engineering a good result in a way,
Yeah, it's a lot easier to go backwards than it is to go forwards to an extent. But that's just kind of the biggest thing for me is, hopefully continuing to put myself in those positions so I can eventually get an opportunity, because I'm sure we'll get into it throughout the pod, but like, privateer life is tough, man. Like, when it comes to the way I run my privateer program, because I kind of pride myself on probably being one of the there's a lot of hardworking privateers and whatnot, but I just have a lot going on within my program, a lot of different avenues and funnels, more or less. So it's a lot of work, considering I do all my own bike work during the week. I have to obviously train kind of by myself to an extent. I've got a trainer that gives me X, Y, and Z, what I'm supposed to do throughout the week. DW Performance, shout out to Drew. But yeah, man, then it comes to the travel, the hotels, like everything's pretty much on me figuring that out for the most part. And it's just busy, dude, with all the social media, XYZ, like there's helmet wraps, bike branding, Moranz Mafia. Like, there's so many things I have going on with the program that I do think I have a lot of potential if a legitimate team was able to step up and give me an opportunity. Yeah,
well, I mean, I'm excited to talk to you about all that stuff, and I mean, I would consider myself a privateer podcast. so
hey, that means we can respect the hustle, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I look at what you guys do. And yeah, I can relate, because it's the same sort of that. If there's a merch drop that comes from Gypsy Tales, that's me. If there's a podcast that, that's me doing that. So, I mean, I respect the hustle. That there's a few of you guys that are really killing it. I think you're right in saying that you're probably one of the harder working dudes that, the all round, kind of package that you're putting together. So yeah, man, I definitely respect what you guys have got going on.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like, I don't want to be the one to say that I'm like, that's for other people to obviously make their opinion based off my program, but like, I do take a lot of pride in it, because that's one thing I think that's really helped me to continue to grow, right? Because I even had this question asked to me not too long ago, is like, are you irritated that a team hasn't reached out to you, yada yada yada. And, I just really love what I do. I love the business side of it just as much as I do the racing side of it. So it makes it fun to me to get creative with these packages, and, the whole Patreon idea where obviously the monthly subscription to be a part of my program gets you XYZ benefits, giveaways, YCF pit bike, Oakley goggles, signed a Cheruby's front number plate. You can get your first and last name on my race bike kind of deal. Like, getting creative with that to then be able to fully fund my own program, because I've been pretty fortunate enough to be able to do that since I was like 17 years old. So because I was in a position where I had to, or because my parents are like, dude, we can't afford this kind of deal. Like, we're helping our brother go to college, or my brother go to college a little bit. And they're like, if you really think you can do this, you want to do this, you got to get creative and go make it happen. And that's what I did.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.